The moment Mike Reynolds took his daughter's hand on that dance floor, he had no idea his life was about to change forever. A simple act of kindness captured on camera would touch millions of hearts, including that of the wealthiest woman in the city who stood silently in the shadows, tears streaming down her face as she watched her disabled daughter smile for the first time in years. If this story moves you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories that remind us of the power of human connection. Mike wiped the sweat from his brow as he pushed the mop across the polished marble floor of Westfield Academy. The exclusive private school gleamed under his care, though he felt invisible to the wealthy families whose children attended. At 42, his calloused hands told the story of a man who had worked hard his entire life, never catching a break but never giving up either. "Almost done, Mr. Reynolds," called Principal Harrington, checking her watch. "Yes, ma'am. Just finishing up the main hall before the spring gala tonight." "Good. The board members and donors will be arriving in 2 hours. Everything needs to be perfect." Mike nodded, knowing what perfect meant. He needed to be invisible. He wasn't supposed to be seen at these events, just make sure everything was spotless then disappear. But tonight would be different. His daughter Lily had won a scholarship to Westfield, and as a student, she was invited to attend the gala. Mike had promised to take her, even though it meant staying at the school and changing into his one decent suit in the maintenance closet. Across town, in a penthouse overlooking the city, Eleanor Blackwood sat at her desk, staring at spreadsheets that detailed her latest billion-dollar acquisition. As CEO of Blackwood Industries, she had built an empire from nothing, but success had come at a steep price. Her marriage had crumbled under the weight of her ambition, and her relationship with her daughter Sophie was strained at best. "Mom?" Sophie's voice was soft as she wheeled herself into the office. At 16, she had the same striking features as her mother, intelligent eyes and high cheekbones, but where Eleanor projected confidence, Sophie carried the weight of insecurity. 3 years ago, a car accident had left her paralyzed from the waist down, and she'd withdrawn from the world ever since. "Yes, honey?" Eleanor looked up, trying to hide her surprise. Sophie rarely sought her out these days. "I've changed my mind. I want to go to the gala tonight." Eleanor's heart leapt. For months, she'd been trying to convince Sophie to attend school events, to reconnect with her classmates, but Sophie had refused every invitation. "That's wonderful. What made you change your mind?" Sophie shrugged, looking away. "Ms. Patel said there would be dancing. I know I can't, but I thought maybe I could just watch." Eleanor felt the familiar pang of guilt. Sophie loved dancing before the accident. "Of course we'll go. I'll call James to bring the car around at 7. As the evening approached, Mike helped Lily with her hair in the small bathroom of their apartment. At 15, she was growing into a beautiful young woman who reminded him so much of her mother. Cancer had taken Sarah when Lily was just 7, leaving Mike to raise their daughter alone. "Do I look okay, Dad?" Lily asked, smoothing down the second-hand dress they'd found at a thrift store. Mike had spent 3 weeks' worth of coffee money to have it altered to fit her perfectly. "You look beautiful, sweetheart. Just like your mom." His voice caught, and he cleared his throat. "Now remember, I'll be there, but I'll be working. So if you need anything." "I know, Dad. I'll find you." Lily smiled, understanding the complicated position they were in. "I'm just excited to go to a real dance." When they arrived back at Westfield, Mike slipped away to change while Lily joined her classmates. The great hall had been transformed into an elegant ballroom, with crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over the proceedings. Board members mingled with wealthy parents, teachers chatted with alumni, and students gathered in nervous clusters around the dance floor. Sophie entered with her mother, immediately drawing attention. Everyone knew the Blackwood name, and Eleanor's presence at school events was rare enough to cause a stir. Sophie kept her eyes down, feeling the weight of curious stares. She positioned her wheelchair near the wall, giving her a view of the dance floor while keeping her partially hidden in the shadows. Eleanor squeezed her daughter's shoulder. "I need to speak with the board chairman. Will you be okay for a few minutes?" Sophie nodded, relieved to have a moment alone. She watched as couples began to move onto the dance floor, a familiar ache spreading through her chest. Before the accident, she had been taking ballet lessons. Now, those dreams seemed as distant as the stars. Across the room, Lily stood with a few other scholarship students, all of them feeling out of place among their wealthy peers. She noticed the girl in the wheelchair watching the dancers with such longing that it made her heart hurt. Without thinking twice, Lily walked over. "Hi, I'm Lily. I don't think we've met before." Sophie looked up, surprised. "I'm Sophie. I do online classes mostly." "Oh, that's cool. Do you like the music?" Sophie nodded, her fingers tapping against the arm of her wheelchair. "I used to dance." Lily smiled. "Me too. My mom taught me before she died. Nothing fancy, but I loved it." The two girls fell into easy conversation, finding common ground despite their different backgrounds. When a slow song began to play, Lily saw her father entering the hall in his janitor's uniform, carrying cleaning supplies for a spill near the refreshment table. "That's my dad," Lily said, pointing. "He works here." Sophie watched the kind-faced man efficiently clean up the mess, invisible to most of the attendees. "He looks nice." "He's the best," Lily said with pride. Then, struck by an idea, she turned to Sophie. "Would you like to dance?" Sophie's eyes widened. "I can't." "Not by yourself, maybe. But what if someone helped you?" Without waiting for an answer, Lily waved her father over. Mike approached cautiously, aware of the disapproving glances from some of the parents. "Everything okay, Lily?" "Dad, this is my new friend Sophie. She used to love dancing, but..." Lily gestured to the wheelchair. Mike understood immediately. He knelt down to Sophie's level. "Would you like to dance, Miss Sophie?" "I'm not very good, but I promise not to step on your toes." Sophie hesitated, then nodded, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "But how?" "If you trust me, I think we can figure it out." With gentle movements, Mike lifted Sophie from her wheelchair. She was light in his arms, and he carefully supported her weight as he guided her onto the dance floor. Lily followed, helping to steady Sophie as Mike began to sway to the music. Sophie's feet didn't touch the ground, but in Mike's strong arms, she felt like she was floating. For the first time in 3 years, she was dancing again. Tears streamed down her face as a smile broke through, a real smile that reached her eyes. From across the room, Eleanor Blackwood watched in stunned silence. She had returned to find her daughter missing, only to discover her on the dance floor in the arms of a janitor. But it wasn't the impropriety that struck her, it was the joy on Sophie's face, a joy she hadn't seen since before the accident. Other dancers moved aside, creating space for the unusual trio. Some students pulled out their phones, recording the moment. Principal Harrington started to move forward, concerned about the janitor's presence on the dance floor, but stopped when she saw the tenderness of the scene. As the song ended, Mike carefully returned Sophie to her wheelchair. "Thank you for the dance, Miss Sophie." Sophie wiped her tears. "No, thank you. I never thought I'd dance again." Eleanor approached, her usual commanding presence softened by emotion. "Sophie? Mom! Did you see? I was dancing." Sophie's face was radiant. Eleanor nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. She turned to Mike. "Thank you for what you did for my daughter." Mike straightened, suddenly aware that he was speaking to someone important. "It was my pleasure, ma'am. Your daughter is a lovely young lady." "I'm Eleanor Blackwood," she said, extending her hand. Mike's eyes widened slightly as he recognized the name of the billionaire businesswoman whose company was frequently in the news. He wiped his palm on his pants before shaking her hand. "Mike Reynolds, ma'am. I'm the head custodian here." "And my dad," Lily added proudly. Eleanor looked between them. "You have a remarkable daughter, Mr. Reynolds." "Thank you. I'm doing my best to raise her right." The moment was interrupted by Principal Harrington, who had finally decided to intervene. "Mr. Reynolds, I believe there's a situation in the east hallway that requires your attention." Mike nodded, understanding the dismissal. "Of course. It was nice meeting you both." He squeezed Lily's shoulder. "I'll see you later, sweetheart." As Mike walked away, Eleanor watched him go, struck by the dignity in his bearing despite the obvious dismissal. She turned to Principal Harrington. "That man just gave my daughter the first moment of joy she's had in 3 years, and you're sending him to clean a hallway?" Principal Harrington faltered. "Mrs. Blackwood, there are protocols." "I don't care about your protocols. That man is a hero to my daughter." Eleanor's voice was quiet but carried the weight of her authority. "I'd like him to join us for the remainder of the evening." The video of Mike dancing with Sophie went viral overnight. Someone had posted it with the caption, "Janitor helps disabled girl dance at fancy school gala, what happens next will make you cry." By morning, it had millions of views and shares across all social media platforms. Mike was unaware of his internet fame as he arrived at work the next day, ready for his usual routine. He was surprised to find Principal Harrington waiting for him in the maintenance office. "Mr. Reynolds, I need to speak with you about last night." Mike braced himself for a reprimand. "Yes, ma'am. I understand I overstepped." "Actually," she interrupted, "I've received a call from Eleanor Blackwood this morning. She was quite impressed with you." Mike blinked in surprise. "She was?" "Yes. And she's requested a meeting with you this afternoon. Her assistant will be here at 2 to pick you up." Mike spent the rest of the morning in a daze, wondering what a billionaire could possibly want with him. By the time the sleek black car arrived to take him to Blackwood Industries, his stomach was in knots. Eleanor's office occupied the entire top floor of a gleaming skyscraper downtown. Mike felt out of place in his work clothes as he was escorted through the modern, minimalist space. Sophie was there too, her face lighting up when she saw him. "Mr. Reynolds. I saw the video. We're famous." Mike smiled, confused. "Video?" Eleanor rose from behind her desk. "Someone recorded you dancing with Sophie last night. It's gone viral." She turned her tablet to show him the video, which now had over 10 million views. "You've touched a lot of hearts, Mr. Reynolds." Mike watched in amazement as the comments scrolled by, thousands of people moved by the simple act of kindness. "I was just trying to make her happy." "And you did," Eleanor said softly. "More than you know." She gestured for him to sit. "I've learned a bit about you since last night, Mr. Reynolds. Single father, working 2 jobs to support your daughter. You've never missed a day of work in the 7 years you've been at Westfield." Mike shifted uncomfortably. "I do what I have to do for Lily." "I understand that dedication," Eleanor said. "I've built my company with the same commitment. But I've realized recently that I've failed in more important ways." She glanced at Sophie. "I've been so focused on success that I forgot what truly matters." Sophie wheeled closer to her mother, reaching for her hand. It was a small gesture, but the significance wasn't lost on Mike. There was healing happening between them. "Mr. Reynolds, Mike, I have a proposition for you," Eleanor continued. "Blackwood Industries has been looking to expand our community outreach programs. After seeing how you connected with Sophie, I believe you have a gift for working with young people. I'd like to offer you a position heading up our new youth mentorship initiative." Mike stared at her in disbelief. "But I'm just a janitor. I don't have the qualifications." You have exactly the qualifications I'm looking for, Eleanor interrupted. Compassion, dignity, and the ability to see people for who they really are. The rest can be learned. The salary she mentioned was more than triple what Mike currently earned. It would mean Lily could stay at Westfield without the scholarship. It would mean no more second job, no more struggling to make ends meet. I don't know what to say, Mike admitted. Say yes, Sophie urged. Please. I'll be helping with the program too. Mom says I need to get out more, connect with people. Mike looked between them, seeing the hope in their eyes. Yes, he said finally. I'd be honored. In the months that followed, Mike's life transformed. The viral video had sparked something in people, a reminder that small acts of kindness could bridge the deepest divides. The youth mentorship program flourished under his leadership, helping underprivileged teens find their potential through arts, education, and community service. Lily and Sophie became inseparable friends, their bond strengthening as they navigated the complexities of teenage life together. Sophie returned to regular classes at Westfield, her confidence growing each day. And Eleanor found herself drawn to Mike's straightforward nature and kind heart. Their working relationship gradually evolved into friendship, and then something deeper. She valued his perspective, so different from the yes-men who typically surrounded her. He challenged her to see beyond profit margins to the human impact of her business decisions. 1 year after the gala, another dance was held at Westfield Academy. This time, Mike attended as a guest rather than an employee. Sophie, using her new lightweight wheelchair designed by Blackwood Industries' medical division, performed a choreographed dance routine with her adaptive dance group, a program she had started with Eleanor's support. As Mike watched from the sidelines, Eleanor joined him, slipping her hand into his. Quite a difference a year makes, she said softly. Mike nodded, squeezing her hand. I never imagined my life could change so completely in one night. Neither did I, Eleanor admitted. I was so lost in my work, I couldn't see what Sophie needed most, connection, not protection. You taught us both that. On the dance floor, Sophie caught sight of them and beamed, waving enthusiastically. Beside her, Lily twirled in a new dress, no longer second-hand, but still modest compared to her classmates' designer gowns. The girls had insisted on staying grounded despite the changes in their circumstances. Later that evening, as the four of them walked out together under the stars, Mike reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. A simple dance had created ripples that transformed not just his life, but the lives of everyone it touched. The viral video had inspired a movement of similar acts of kindness across the country, proving that compassion could transcend barriers of wealth, ability, and circumstance. Eleanor leaned against his shoulder, following his gaze to their daughters ahead. What are you thinking about? How sometimes the smallest moments can change everything, Mike replied. And how grateful I am that I said yes to a dance. In that moment, surrounded by the family they had built together, Mike knew that true wealth had nothing to do with money. It was measured in love, in kindness, and in the courage to reach across divides to connect with another human being. And it had all started with a dance, a disabled girl's wish, and a janitor who didn't know he was being watched by the woman who would change his life forever. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful stories of human connection that remind us all of what truly matters in life.